Miami hockey head coach Chris Bergeron as the Red Hawks travel to Grand Forks for the first round of the NCHC tournament. Coach, you guys are playing North Dakota in the first round, who you guys obviously started the regular season off with. So it's been a while since you guys have seen them in action. What are your thoughts on playing North Dakota in the first round?
Well, I mean, I don't have thoughts about playing them. My thoughts are on preparing to play them. They're really good. They won the league for a reason. I think the depth of this league is probably its biggest strength, not only in the teams but within each team. The depth of players they have at all three positions. It seems to me, like I say the same thing each week. That's what I'm kind of getting at. And our depth gets exposed when we play teams who are as deep as the teams that we seem to be playing all the time. I'm not trying to talk in circles, but this is the deepest team. As deep as Western is, as deep as Duluth is, North Dakota is deeper. That's probably why they ended up winning. They're deep in goal. They're deep on the back end, and their forwards. It's crazy how deep they are up there. So it's challenges everywhere. With all that being said, it's one game. It's a one game situation. We cannot allow something bad to turn into 4, 5, 8 minutes of bad, which has happened in that building before, not to this team, but to last year's team. I mean, we got through the first 10 minutes last year, and I mean, we there was no score. We weren't playing great, but that turned into 4, 5, 6 goals in a short span of time. That cannot happen. We cannot allow the mental state to take over, meaning again, a goal against or something bad happens and that turns into 6, 8 minutes of bad, because they're a team that'll put the game out of reach in that 6, 8 minute span, and now you're done. Special teams are going to matter. It's not something that we've excelled in at either side of special teams, but again, it's one game. I think our best game, I think this team's best game gives anybody fits. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're preparing to do. We're going to need our best game. Do we need to be perfect? No. But we're going to need our best game to challenge North Dakota. And it's because of their depth at all three positions.
Coach, and with it being just a one-game win and move on kind of scenario, about the urgency, do the players recognize this? Have you had to kind of talk, you and the coaching staff had to talk a lot about it? Or is it kind of self-taught that everybody just knows where you're at? It's playoff time.
Well, I think, Wads, everybody knows, but until you get there, we're not really going to know. I mean, again, we've talked about it. We've talked more along the lines of special teams and how important they are in a one-game situation. What I think our focus is in terms of the one game is we can't be a group that we've been a lot of this year, meaning we're waiting for something bad to happen, or we're reacting when something bad happens. We just have to expect bad things to happen. That's just all there is to it. But again, we cannot allow that bad thing to turn into 6, 8, 10, a bad period. It cannot be that. We have to be able to leave it and move on to the next play. Leave that shift, move on to the next shift. And that is what we're focusing on. That is what we're talking about. And then again, just preparing. I really feel like the best game that this team has, which we haven't done it lots, but our best game is one that could be a handful, and we want to get there. So that's been a lot of the focus. The one game thing, again, a lot of that talk has been more based around we cannot allow one bad thing to turn into 6 or 8 because we feel sorry for ourselves for 6 or 8 minutes.
And again, being another week coming off of a bye, how much did that help? Did it matter any at all for preparation? I know health-wise it wasn't going to make a lot of difference from what you were saying a week ago, but how did that week off kind of matter for you?
Well, I think it really it's rest in a time of year we probably don't need it, just because we had that week off leading into Western Michigan. It did give, Lown and Savage a chance to continue to heal up. I just don't know. We can't risk playing not healthy players, and I'm not sure that they're 100%. And that's something we're trying to work through. They both skated today in practice, but so, it probably the only thing it did was, honestly, the only thing it did was allow those guys more time to rest. I just don't know if that's enough time. I just don't know if that's enough preparation, because we have healthy bodies and neither one of them have played in a while. And that's not fair to the kid either. So those are the decisions we're trying to make. But I think that's what the week off did. It allowed those two guys specifically a chance to heal up more, and it gave some guys that had played a bunch of minutes, the second part of the second half of the year, it gave them a chance just to rest, which I think anybody can use some rest at this time of year.
One last thing about the team you're playing, North Dakota. You saw them a year ago when the season, in fact, we're in pretty much the exact same time 1 year ago where everything got shut down. That team a year ago was number one in the conference. All those players made a decision to come back to play. They've got a chip on their shoulder because they didn't get to go for everything and go for a national champion a year ago. This team, I think, has a legitimate chance of being a national championship contender. How much does that play into a one-and-done kind of a scenario? You can go in there and maybe do some spoiling.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's all in the same lines that we talked about. Everything you said about North Dakota from last season to this summer to this season is true. Anything you read on social media, they all came back with a purpose. They're on a mission, if you will. I don't know the words they're using, but it's that kind of thing to get all those players back and get through the regular season at the level they did, and now focusing on a playoff championship. But it doesn't change what you and I have talked about in terms of the one and done thing. I mean, we've seen teams on paper not as good as other teams on paper beat people at this level in one game situations in a national tournament or a league playoff situation. So we all we need to do is focus on ourselves and make sure that we're right physically and mentally to play our best game, knowing that that's going to be challenged. And again, I think one of the bigger challenges for us is the mental side of things. If and when things go bad, a defensive zone shift that just happens because they've got really good players, a penalty where we need to get a gutsy kill. Like, these are things that happen all the time, but in a one-game situation become more. Basically, the spotlight's on it more because you've got to get through that so the game doesn't get out of reach, because they are a team that can make the game out of reach pretty quickly, and we just can't afford that to happen. We can't let that momentum that happened over one shift or one play turn into momentum that carries over into 10, 12 minutes, just like we talked about. So that to me is more the focus for us than what North Dakota's mission is or how the regular season has been or what they've done up until this point. It's a one-game situation. We'll talk about their top players, who are top players not only in this league but in the country. And you'll have to be aware. We've got to take care of the puck. We got to be good in our D zone. We got to be good exiting the puck so we don't give them second or third chances in our D zone. All the stuff we need to be good at every week.
Ludwig Pearson was announced to the NCHC second team along with the all-rookie team. What are your thoughts on Ludwig's play this season?
I think his play was an all-league type of season. Not only amongst rookies, but amongst the top goaltenders in the league. You wouldn't think his team had the record we have or the goals against that we have, which I'm not exactly sure the goals against we have, but and have a goaltender with a 92 save percentage and a 2.5 goals against or whatever Ludwig is. But I'm glad to see that he got recognized, because this guy is the guy that puts the time in, puts the work in. And again, I think his play was all league. Was all league type play, for sure amongst the rookies, but even more so amongst the returners in the league. So good for him. I think he deserves it. I think it wasn't a fluke. It was a lot of hard work by that boy, and hopefully there's lots more to come.